Hi and welcome to John's Maths Book. In this video, we'll be exploring another key concept in mathematics. If you find this tutorial helpful, then please show your support by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. Your positive engagement helps me create more content and allows me to bring you more valuable maths lessons. Without further ado, let's go over to the whiteboard. Let's use triple integrals and cylindrical coordinates to find the volume enclosed between a paraboloid and a cone. In this example, the paraboloid is defined by the Cartesian equation where z equals 2 minus into the bracket of x squared plus y squared, and the cone is defined by the Cartesian equation where z equals the positive square root of x squared plus y squared. The apex of the cone is where z equals 0 on the xy plane. I've restricted the paraboloid such that it extends upwards from the xy plane, so where z equals 0. Let's take a look at this structure in 3D form using a graphing tool. So this is the paraboloid in isolation, and this is the cone in isolation. And putting the two together, we get this structure. And if we limit the structure to where the two intersect, we get this, and we want to find the volume within. Our first step in finding the volume is to convert the Cartesian equations for the cone and paraboloid into cylindrical coordinates. Beginning with the paraboloid, where the equation we have is z equals 2 minus into the bracket of x squared plus y squared, we want to convert x, y, and z to r, theta, and z. And to do this, we're going to substitute r cos theta for x, r sin theta for y, and z will remain the same, so z will equal z. And making the substitution, we get z equals 2 minus r squared into the bracket of cos squared theta plus sin squared theta. And using the trig substitution, where cos squared theta plus sin squared theta is equal to 1, this equation reduces to z equals 2 minus r squared. And this gives us the equation of the paraboloid in cylindrical form. And moving on to the cone, we need to do the same thing. So we need to substitute r cos theta for x, r sin theta for y, and leave z as is, so z will equal z. Having made the substitution, we're left with z equals the square root of r squared into the bracket of cos squared theta plus sin squared theta. And using the trig substitution, where cos squared theta plus sin squared theta is equal to 1, we have z equals the square root of r squared. And taking the positive square root, we have z equals r. And this is the equation of the cone in cylindrical form. To find the volume, we need to integrate over the region, which we'll call E, and some infinitesimally small pieces of volume, shown here as dv. We need to unpack this and define our region using cylindrical coordinates. This will give us our limits of integration for r, theta, and z, and then look at what dv equates to in this context. So let's start with the limits of integration along the z-axis. To help us with this, let's limit our structure to show the region of intersection. The best way to think about this when defining our limits is that we are summing infinitesimally small pieces of volume along the z-axis between a function that defines the upper bound and one that defines the lower bound. So as we can see from this diagram, the structure has a paraboloid as the top part and a cone as the bottom part, which helps us to define the limits of integration. If we start at the xy plane and move vertically along the z-axis, the first thing we get to is the cone. And then, if we continue our journey, we reach the paraboloid. The lower limit is therefore the function of the cone, so where z equals r. And the upper limit of integration is the function of the paraboloid, so where z equals 2 minus r squared. If you remember when we looked at volumes using polar coordinates, we multiplied by a height component, which was the difference between the upper function and the lower function. Well, this is essentially the same thing, except we're now using integrals to do this. Moving on to the limits of integration for r, if we look down from the z-axis, we see that a circle centered at 0 is cast on the xy plane. The upper and lower limits of r will be along the radius of the circle, where we'll sum infinitesimally small pieces of volume. The upper limit of integration for r is the radius of the circle, and is where the paraboloid interfaces with the cone. So to find this, we need to equate the function of the cone with the function of the paraboloid. So the function of the paraboloid is z equals 2 minus r squared, and the function of the cone is z equals r. If we equate the two, we get r equals 2 minus r squared. This is a quadratic equation, and we can factorize this to give r plus 2 multiplied by r minus 1 equals 0. And solving this, we have r equals 1 and r equals minus 2. And for this, we'll be using the positive value of r because the radius is positive, so where r equals 1. The upper limit of integration for r is the radius of this circle, so where r equals 1. And as r begins at the origin, the lower limit of integration is r equals 0. And to find the limit of integration for theta, we need to look at the coverage as r rotates anti-clockwise around the circle. As we can see, r goes full circle and therefore rotates the full 2 pi or 360 degrees. So the lower limit of theta, where theta starts, is at 0, and the upper limit of integration is where theta finishes, and in this case it's 2 pi radians. We've defined our region using the limits of integration. So now let's unpack what we're integrating. So in our case, dv. So dv represents infinitesimally small pieces of volume. We're using triple integrals to sum each of these to get the total volume. Let's look at the dimensions of one of these. If we look at the green shaded region, this represents an infinitesimally small piece of volume dv. We can think of this as a tiny rectangular box where the volume is given by the height multiplied by the width multiplied by the length. So let's apply this to the green shaded region. We can see that the height is along the z-axis, and it's an infinitesimally small piece of z represented by dz. The width of the box lies along the radial distance r and is an infinitesimally small piece of r represented by dr. And the length lies along the arc of the circle and is infinitesimally small. Now the arc length of a circle is given by the radius multiplied by the central angle theta. In this case, theta is infinitesimally small, represented by d theta. If we now put all these infinitesimally small dimensions together, we see that the volume dv is given by dz rdr d theta, and we sum all these pieces of volume using our triple integrals to get the total volume. So we now have our triple integral where we're integrating dz rdr d theta. So let's begin the evaluation process, beginning with the inner integral. So for this, we want to integrate from z equals r to z equals 2 minus r squared dz. And using the power rule, this integral evaluates to z. And plugging in the limits of integration, we have 2 minus r squared minus r. And for the middle integral, we're integrating from r equals 0 to r equals 1 to r minus r squared minus r cubed dr. And using the power rule, this integral evaluates to r squared minus r cubed divided by 3 minus r to the power of 4 divided by 4. And plugging in the limits of integration, we have 1 minus 1/3 minus 1/4 minus the lower limit, which is 0, and this equates to 5/12. And for the outer integral, we want to integrate from theta equals 0 to theta equals 2 pi 5/12 d theta. Using the power rule, this integral evaluates to 5/12 theta, and plugging in the limits of integration, we have 10/12 pi minus the lower limit, which is 0, and this equates to 5/6 pi, which is the volume enclosed between the paraboloid and the cone.